Hey everyone, I did a video a little while ago on rules that sometimes I forget or other folks might forget for Savage Worlds. I wanted to do another video of more things that sometimes I forget or do wrong. Maybe it'll help you too. One of the best games today. Savage Hey everyone, it's Carl with Tabletop Tango. Look at the bubbles, do the stuff. Super shout out request for subscriptions. If you like the videos and you watch the videos, please subscribe. I'm hoping to get to another milestone because when I do a milestone, I do a celebration. And when I do a celebration, I get a chance to have maybe some PEG people on, do some questions, do a quiz, do just fun stuff like that. And so that's always fun to do. So please subscribe if you like the content at all. So anyway, what am I talking about today? So I'm talking about, again, rules that sometimes I get wrong. I forget about them. I'm hoping that maybe some others will learn from my mistakes and also go, oh yeah, that might be a rule that sometimes I forget as well. So let's get right into it. So the first one is surprise. I do surprise wrong lots of times because usually it's like, okay, somebody's surprised. All right, so these group gets to just go first before we even deal cards and just see if you take care of business before we even start. But the real rule is if there's an ambush or there's something where you surprise somebody, a trap gets sprung, what you're supposed to do is take the ambushers and put them on hold and then have the folks who are being surprised do notice rolls. And if they succeed on a notice roll, they get to put a card in order. They get a draw of the action deck. If you don't, then you're not in the order at all. And so by starting the ambushers or the people who are surprising on hold gives them the opportunity to see what the other person's doing, interrupt their action. And so it's a little more flexible than when I go, hey, somebody surprised you, they get their action first. It's the right way of doing it, but lots of times I forget to do it that way. It's just the way it is. Second thing, it's not really a rule I forget. It's a rule that I want to offer up that folks may not know about. It was introduced in some of the companions. It also made its way into the 5th printing of the core book. That's called Desperate Attack. Now, Desperate Attack, you can either do +2 or +4 to your hit roll at the expense of having -2 or -4 from your damage score that comes from if you do hit. Now, I think it's a little overpowered almost. I'm not sure that's true. It's just anecdotally from my experience when the players use Desperate Attack, that penalty on damage doesn't seem to impact them nearly as much as doing something like a Wild Attack and being vulnerable, the next thing for the bad guy. Of course, people use Wild Attack all the time with minions, and then that's just like cutting them down because then minions never get a chance to attack while they're vulnerable. But Desperate Attack, something you may not have known about. It's now in the 5th printing. It also was found in a couple of other source books that came out before the 5th printing. Next one, Knockout Blow. So always forget about the fact that when the player has the drop on somebody and they do damage or shake them, there's a chance that they'll knock out the foe. And I always forget that. And it specifically says if a character takes enough damage to be shaken or worse from an attacker with the drop on him, he must make a vigor roll, and that's at -2 if the attack was the head, so if there was a called shot to the head, or be knocked unconscious. I think I forget about running that all the time or using those rules. I think we're almost always, there's an attack, they've got the drop, they get the extra damage, they get the extra hit, and then things just play out, and we never use the knockout blow rule, and I really should. Next one is called shots against different target sizes. Call shots are just absolutely fun to say, I'm going to do a headshot, get that extra damage, or I'm going to shoot at the weapon or shoot at a hand. It's a lot of fun to do. But one of the things we always kind of forget about is the scale modifier has an impact on it. So we know that when you're shooting at something larger, you will get a bonus. So for example, if you're shooting at a vehicle, that's +2 because it's large compared to a human. The same thing applies to when you're doing called shots on a creature. So let's say you have a very large creature and its head is the size of a car. That means you're going to get a +2 to that hit It's not the called shot. It's not the -4 that you get by doing a called shot to a human head. It's the size of a car. So you still get that +2, even though it's a called shot to a specific area. So yeah, you can shoot at that one missing scale of armor on the deadly dragon. And you know, who knows how big that is? That might be still the size of a head. That might be still the size of a human and a huge dragon. I don't know. I guess it's how you do it. So scale modifiers, take that into account. So the last thing I want to talk about is free attacks. And free attack is the thing you got to remember about free attacks that people forget all the time is that and it says in the rules here, it says free attacks are a single attack unaltered by the attacker's other edges or combat options. So it's unaffected by, you can't wild attack a free attack. You can't do certain things. It's really just a straightforward attack that you get when the person is withdrawing from combat and it's moving, and you get that free strike. There's obviously other edges that come into effect, things like counter attack, first strike, that have to do with when somebody comes in or when somebody misses a hit. Not talking about that. We're talking purely those free attacks when somebody is trying to disengage. Again, unaltered by attackers' other edges or combat options. So something that's always forgotten. So big ones: surprise, running surprise, rules as written. Desperate attack, a new one. We use that, just thought I'd mention it. Knockout blows. And then using called shots against different sizes of things when it comes to creatures or large size things. It's not always just a -4 because you're shooting at the head. The head might be the size of a truck. And then finally, free attacks, unaltered by other edges and combat options. So those are some of the ones that I sometimes miss in my head, keeping all the rules together, and maybe you do as well. Maybe you don't. Hey, what are some of the rules that you forget about that are kind of nuanced or whatever, and you wish that you remembered them better? Put those down in the comments. Love to read them. Then we can all learn together. Once again, I'm Carl with Tabletop Tango. Look at the bubbles, do the stuff. Please like, subscribe, all that cool stuff. And we'll catch you in the next video. Bye. Savage Worlds, one of the best games today.